Welcome to the TTT News Special. I'm DK Rosta. We are joined by Miss World Trinidad and Tobago 2021, founder of the Brandt Beauty Foundation, founder Girl Up BBF, United Nations Initiative, owner of Divine Beauty by Jeanine Brandt. And with all that, we say hello to you, Jeanine Brandt, as you join us to shed some light on your work and vision, even beyond the competition. How you do?
I'm well. Good afternoon, DK. Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you so much for having me.
The pleasure
I'm
is
so happy to
ours.
be here.
Definitely, the pleasure is ours. Now, I want to know though, even before we get into the Beauty with a Purpose campaign, what are some of the things that were behind your thought process when, if someone says, why take part in the pageant at this time? What would you tell them?
I would tell them that Miss World is such a powerful pageant. It's one of a kind. I believe that Beauty with a Purpose is the heart and soul of Miss World, and it encourages all the delegates to do their best in their country, choose an initiative they're passionate about, and we present it at Miss World when we go to the competition. And before Miss World, I decided to choose that pageant because of that initiative. And when I went to the screening, we did not have a pandemic at that time. It was prolonged due to COVID. And we got a lot of great experience due to that. We had a longer process of training, and it really just empowers all the delegates to be the best version of themselves. So that was one of the reasons why I entered the pageant as well. And I mean, it's such an honor to represent Trinidad and Tobago on an international platform. So I just feel so blessed and so honored to be able to do that for my country.
And one of the things you spoke about just now, you kept on saying beauty with a purpose, beauty with a purpose. So let us know what the campaign is, please, that you'll be presenting to Miss World in Puerto Rico this year.
Okay, so before I was crowned Miss World Trinidad and Tobago, I founded my own foundation, the Brandt Beauty Foundation, because all girls are beautiful, and we seek to empower young women and children throughout the country. We have 5 pillars that we stand on: security, health, nutrition, education, and empowerment. I started doing work with girls in my constituency of Laramine. I reached out to the MP's office. I reached out to corporate Trinidad and Tobago for support, and we were able to build a home for a family in the area that were in need. And I did a lot of workshops with the girls. And this year, what we decided to do, my foundation and myself, we decided to launch my campaign, which is a journey of 1,965 square miles, the distance of Trinidad and Tobago, where we will be reaching out to girls throughout the country in need to help them and support them through the 5 pillars. So I've already started reaching out to Rio Claro, Chaguanas, Laramine, Tunapuna, St. Augustine, and I plan to go to Tobago as well. And it's been such a great experience so far for me. We also have big projects that we're working on, apart from the ongoing workshops with girls. We're providing solar panels for families in rural communities, and we are doing a hydroponic plant in an eco park in St. Helena. So I'm really looking forward to this, working with Corporate Trinidad to get these projects off the ground. And one that I've recently started as well is my period poverty campaign. A lot of girls are suffering in Trinidad in silence, and they can't afford the sanitary napkins. So they have to use other things during the month, and that can make them sick. I've been speaking to a lot of girls, doing my research when I go out into the communities, and a lot of girls are suffering. And I reached out to Extra Foods, and they actually gave me a sponsorship of sanitary napkins that I can go out now and provide to girls in need. So those are just some of the projects that I'll be working on, and I will be presenting this to Miss World as my Beauty with a Purpose in Trinidad and Tobago.
And I want to dive down into some of those projects a little later in the conversation. But before that, though, the competition itself takes place this year. I believe it is in December.
Yes, it will be on December 16th in Puerto Rico.
All right, and I'm sure you're very happy that borders have opened to allow this level of travel. So what are some of the things that you're thinking about in terms of carrying in your heart? Because yes, you're talking about the projects, but is there anything else that you're saying, okay, well, I'm going with this on my mind. This is something that I want to share when I am in Puerto Rico representing Trinidad and Tobago?
Another part of being a representative for your country is you're an ambassador for your country. So you have to share the culture of your people, of your country with the world. So when I go, I want to share what Trinidad means to me. And to me, we are a country where we celebrate our diversity. We live together in harmony. We are such warm people. When you come to Trinidad, you feel that love, you feel that joy. We're always partying, always celebrating each other. So that is what I want to share, our culture, how we live together. It's so many different cultures in our country. And we just come together as this one big family. So I'll be sharing all those things, our food, carnival, especially carnival, the greatest show on earth. So those are some of the things that I'll be sharing.
And I like the fact that you said, okay, well, when you started on this journey, COVID never keep. So in terms of going through the process, you said that you got experience, but were there any persons in your ear saying, you sure you want to continue to take part in this? You sure you want to be a part of this? And if so, how did you deal with some of those kind of negative feedback?
To me, everyone around me was so supportive. My family was really a big support system for me when I was going through the pageant last year. And I mean, it didn't cross my mind to drop out. I started it and I was learning so much about myself, about our country. And I grew so much from this experience that I wanted to continue. I wanted to see it out. And I just believed in our country. I believed in the pageants and the franchise holders because they did such an excellent job at keeping the pageant going. We had to do online training, and that was every week. So we kept that up until things started to reopen and we were able to do things in person again. But for me, I even went on a fitness journey because there's a fitness competition at Miss World, and I wasn't the fittest person. And I just started to eat healthy. I took care of myself, and I actually lost 35 pounds in the process. When I started, I also could not walk in heels. So I learned that through everything. I was up and down my hallway practicing walking in heels. We did business protocol, we did etiquette. We also went to art museums, and it really just exposes us delegates to what our country is, and it just develops us in so many different ways that we carry on with through our lives.
And you hearing this from you reminds me of the argument both for and against beauty pageants, and getting it from your mouth is very affirming in the sense that some people say, so why take part in something like this at all? There are other ways I'm sure you could impact society. There are other ways that you can be a force for good. But what would you tell that person both about impacting society as well as changing or changes that you see within yourself by being a part of this journey and process?
I believe that being a part of this process, I've changed so much. I've grown as a person. I've become more assertive when I'm speaking to people because I used to be very shy, and I had to learn to come out of that shell and be able to speak publicly. And that was something that I never thought I could have done. And it just really challenged me in that way. And I feel like I've really become the person that I wanted to be. I've grown. So many of the girls, all the girls, if not all of the girls in the pageant, sorry, I meant to say, they have grown so much through the process. And I think another thing that I love about it is the beauty with a purpose, because that is the biggest part of the pageant. You choose an initiative that you're passionate about, and you go out there and you reach out to people and you see how best you can help others and give back to your country. And that is the main goal with Miss World. They just focus on you being yourself, your authentic self, empowering others around you, and finding these initiatives and going out there and helping others. And to me, that was the most impactful thing about the pageant.
All right, so we continue this conversation with you and your authentic self, Jeanine Brandt, when we return from this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are having a conversation with Jeanine Brandt, Miss World Trinidad and Tobago 2021. Now, Jeanine, I want to know though, how did you decide upon the pillars for the Brandt Beauty Foundation?
I believe that this is something, well, let me start with the pillars. So it's security, health, nutrition, education, and empowerment. I believe that that is something needed today in Trinidad and Tobago. So many young girls, they're home, especially with COVID, they're home in their house and they don't have access to the resources they need to do their schoolwork. So with the workshops, I was able to help them and with educating them with empowerment as well, creating self confidence within them, creating a culture of capability. We did kitchen gardens with them, helping them to become self sufficient. And the kitchen gardens, a lot of them actually started eating from them and they learned to contribute to their families, even as young children. Um, with the health, with my feminine hygiene campaign, that was something I realized is needed. A lot of girls, they just need to be educated on when your cycle comes every month, what to do, because these are taboo subjects that some parents don't discuss with their children. So I took it upon myself to educate my girls on those things. And nutrition, well, that tied in with the kitchen gardens. It's hard times right now in the country with COVID. And I believe that the kitchen garden helped the girls to contribute meals to their household.
But how did you even start to have that conversation about period poverty? Because, like you said, some parents do not have conversations like this with their children, with their girls. So might feel uncomfortable with somebody else, a stranger, just starting that conversation. So what was the catalyst, or what was the opening, that window that allowed you to step in and say, okay, well, let's talk about this?
So the first workshop we started doing with the girls is on motivation. So we speak about their passions, their purpose in life, and then we go into career planning. So what do they want to be when they grow up? And so we kind of warmed into everything. We got to know the girls, get a little more comfortable with them before we went into any sort of healthcare. That was later on in the workshop. So they were already comfortable with us. And I brought in a doctor to speak to the girls on this matter. And they were just, they got to know everyone. So it wasn't too uncomfortable to have this discussion. And I think me being open about it made them feel more comfortable.
And how do people contact the foundation? And I ask that because I want to talk about the contact information first, and then we get back into some more of the projects that you're involved in so that people can see, okay, well, I can help with this. Okay, possibly they may need some resources with that. So how do people contact the foundation?
Right now, we have an email address, the Brandt Beauty Foundation at gmail.com. So you can reach out to us on the email address and we will get back to you
All right, and
as to how you can support.
thank you so much. Interacting and engaging with the members of the foundation right now, because yes, we see some images and you're very masked up and stuff, but at the same time, things are a great deal more virtual at this point in time. Is that something that you are using as well in the work of the foundation?
Yes, last year when things were more open in the country, I was able to do in-person workshops, but I had to adjust to what is happening and I had to do Zoom workshops with the girls. So that is what we're doing right now. We did a Zoom account and we just join all the girls on it, and that is how we're educating them.
So we spoke a little bit about the period poverty campaign. Take me along the journey of solar campaign or the solar panels, please, because I want to know the reason behind each of these projects and who are some of the partners you're working with. What are some of the things that you need to take the project forward?
So for the solar panel project, we reached out to Rescott Limited. We reached out to the managing director, Graham Jones, and we worked closely with him. We did site visits to the houses. We also reached out to the MP of Mayaro because that's a rural area in Trinidad and a lot of girls are home and they don't have access to the devices, to electricity to do their homework. So what we're trying to do right now is raise the funds and reach out to as many companies and corporate Trinidad as we can that are interested in the project so we can fund it and we can provide electricity to the families. But my main goal was reaching out to kids that don't have electricity so they can continue their work from home.
All right, now you're saying that you're actually representing, is it Laramine, is it not?
Yes.
No, Laramine is a little distance from St. Helena. So how did the Eco Park or the Eco Park come about?
So we're talking about the hydroponics plant now that we're
Yes, ma'am.
doing. Remember I told you I launched my campaign, a journey of 1,965 square miles. So I wanted to reach different communities throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And I actually made contact with the councillor of St. Augustine, Mr. Richard Rampasad. And he was the one who put me on to the Eco Park in St. Helena. So we met with him and we saw the site. We saw the site and we located an area where we could do the hydroponics plants, and we're still working on getting funding for the project. But I think it would be a great asset to their eco park. A lot of women, a lot of children and families can come and benefit from it to feed themselves in this difficult time in the country. And that was the main objective behind it, to provide the food necessary to nourish their families, as well as find a way that they can even benefit from it by selling it, making an income from it to contribute to their household.
How do you feel being a part of this? Because normally it would have been a shorter time period in which you're following this journey, on which you're in this process, but being in it in a longer sort of way, having to be a little more consistent with the effort and saying, okay, well, I'm helping to impact lives this way. Is this something that has changed you in some radical way, or is this who you were all the time, even though you say you're getting closer to being your authentic self? How does that look with you looking into the mirror?
I grew up with my grandparents. Both of my parents were flight attendants. So they were always involved in church, always giving back. My grandfather, he passed away last year, but he would give you his last dollar if he could. And seeing how they were and how they were with people, it impacted me and the person that I am today to give back to others. And I've always been like this. I always wanted to help people, but it only recently came to me as to how I can go about doing it by founding my Brandt Beauty Foundation and the principles of it. It took time to develop, but I'm so grateful that I got to do this. I'm grateful to Miss World for giving me this opportunity to do beauty with a purpose in Trinidad and Tobago. And it's been such a great journey for me. I love that I got the time to develop myself as well over this last year, because usually it's about a 3-month process. You screen, it's 3 months of training, and then you go straight to wherever they're hosting the show. And I got a whole year of training. So honestly, I think I benefited so much from the pandemic in that regard, because I was able to really dig deep, train, and form the pillars of my foundation, reach out to others for support, and build this community that impacts girls and their families.
All right, we have about a minute left, Jeanine. 2 things. I want to get your contact information again, but before that, answer the person who said, December the 16th coming, and after December the 16th happened, she don't need us again, the foundation done, share business. How do you respond to that person?
I would say that I'm so passionate about what I'm doing right now in the country. I can never stop this. It honestly brings me so much joy to be able to give back to these girls and their families and help others. I genuinely feel so happy doing it. And my long-term projects that I've identified would be doing the ongoing workshops with the girls, developing my United Nations initiative of Girl Up in schools. I also have plans to open a halfway house, and that is something that will take time in Trinidad. But it's ongoing. I have so many ongoing projects right now, and I'm passionate about it. So that is what I would say to that person. I'm not going to give up on you. This is something that is a part of me now, a part of my life, and it will be for the rest of my life. This is the legacy that I want to leave behind.
And just remind us of the email address again, please.
The email address for the foundation is the Brandt Beauty Foundation at gmail.com. You can also check us out on social media. My personal social media is Jeanine Brandt MWTT, or the Brandt Beauty Foundation on Instagram.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your time. Thank you for sharing your light. And on behalf of the entire news team, thank you for joining us.